Now I will start to implement the Stripe payment gateway. I have this information in my hand, that is publishable key and secret key. Now let's go to editor, and it was actually payment integration module that I created last time, and my env file, this has the data for the PayPal, right? And here I am going to add something here. So here I added the PayPal sandbox client ID, PayPal sandbox client secret. So similarly I can use something like this, Stripe. What will be here? Here Stripe test, right? Stripe test publishable key. So this one, and secret key, SK. So Stripe test, in the case of PayPal we called it sandbox, and in the case of Stripe we call it publishable key and secret key. So PK and SK. So what is my PK? Publishable key, this one. I am going to copy it and paste it here. Similarly, my secret key is this, so I am going to copy it and paste it here. Now I am going to the routes, then web.php, and what we did for the case of PayPal, we will do same thing for the case of Stripe. First I am going to create a controller. So like the PayPal, I am going to create a controller that is a Stripe controller, and the Stripe controller is created. I am going to app http controllers, and this is Stripe controller. So in the PayPal controller we did code for PayPal, and in the Stripe controller here I will do code for Stripe. So public function payment, this is one function, and you know we need more two functions. One is success and another one is cancel, right? So this type. Now what I will do, I will have to use something. I am going to the Stripe documentation, Stripe documentation, and in the Stripe documentation I am going there. I am going to search here quantity. In the search box you will get a search box. So here quantity checkout, I need quantity checkout. So here checkout session, quantity is adjustable. So make line item quantity is adjustable. Here you will see there are many codes, for example CURL, Ruby, Python. For each language there are codes. As I am going to use PHP, so I just select the PHP here. Okay, I will use the code here, and here is Stripe equal to this one, publishable key, this one. Okay, so I am going to copy the code. Just I copy the code from here, and in my payment function here this will be request of request, and in the payment I just paste the code like this. Okay, here I will edit this. I am going to remove these ones. Okay, now I am going to do one thing. In the case of PayPal, in the config file you see that there was a paypal.php. Now I am going to create here a file, stripe.php. In the paypal.php, actually what was this? This was the code, right? So I am going to copy that, and in the case of stripe.php I am going to paste it. Now I will not need this more information. What I will need, I am going to remove most of the case sandbox. Okay, from this I am going to remove it. Here what I will do, here just not sandbox, here I just use, you see that in the env file I call to variable Stripe test pk. So I am going to copy it, and here Stripe test pk, this one equal to, for example, env file. you see that they use the env. Similar way I will use the env. This is my env file, this one. And here step test pk, after this env file I can call here easily, that is for example stripe pk shortcut. Okay, so this one I am going to copy and another one I am going to paste. This is stripe sk and step test sk. I am not going to use this one, so like this. So I will return these values here, that is stripe pk and stripe sk. I am going to get the values from the env file. So here I already get the real values and that I call here. So stripe pk variable and stripe sk variable, these two variable will be helpful here. Now you see that I copied the code here. Here is the stripe client sk. It starts with sk. That means what? That means I am going to use here one thing. But this stripe, where will it get this stripe? For this reason I will have to do one thing. I did not use any package yet. So I am going to Google and I am going to get the stripe package PHP, this one is stripe PHP library for the stripe API. I am going to on that page. You see that a composer code they give me, so from here I copy this code. This is actually the official library from stripe API. You see that PHP library for stripe API, this is the official website link, so you can easily use it without any headache. I am just going to copy this composer code and I will install it in my application. So I am going to payment integration, in this case cmd, and here I paste it, then I install this. Just wait for some times, it will be installed on our project. Generating optimized .load files. Yes, this is done. So I'm going to close it. Now it will work because now I have the class stripe and there I can use the stripe client like this, right? And here you see that there is this one. It will I use like the PayPal what I used. The similar way I will call the config stripe file. That means this file, right? So I just use the stripe client, sorry, not client actually, stripe client. Here you will have to set the API key, not like this. This is okay, config this one. I will do one thing, that is here set API key I will need. Checkout session is okay, but this stripe equal to new stripe. No, I am going to do it more easy way. Stripe, then stripe, then this one I will set up set API key. Okay, so I will use the set API key and the config file will be a stripe, this one. So config stripe. So stripe is actually the config file. That means I call this one, this file, and here the variable name is stripe sk. So here I am going to call stripe.stripe sk because the return value of the stripe.php is stripe sk. So I just use this in this way. Now here instead of stripe I am going to do one thing, that is stripe. Here sorry, here this will be like this, stripe set API key, and here I am going to copy this one. So it will be actually the stripe, then it will be checkout. I am going directly the class, call the class checkout, that then session create. So like this, this one like this, session class, then create. Okay, So this one will be like this, session create, and here you will see line items and more items, and all these I am going to call into response variable. So the response equal to stripe, then checkout, then session, and then there will be create function, and here I will use payment method type not needed, just I will need the line items. In the line items, the price data is okay. I am going to make it like this. Adjustable quantity is not needed. I am going to remove it. This quantity, what will be the actual quantity? This is 1, but tax behavior not needed. The unit amount is the important thing for me. I will need that. Price data, currency. The currency USD also okay. The product data name, I am going to do one thing, that is like this. Okay, so product data will be like, for example, like this. So price data is currency USD, product data is name equal to which one. My product name is mobile phone. Here I can give it. And the unit amount is the price that I get from request. So request of price is my unit amount. But here the problem is you cannot directly use it. With it I will have to multiply 100, because this is actually the USD, but Stripe will work only for the cents. So how many cents it will be? So in order to make it, I have multiplied it with 100. Okay, so I multiply it. Now it should work. The quantity is 1. This is okay. The mode is payment, but here I automatic tax not needed. Mode is payment, and here the success URL will be the like before, the route. The route will be Stripe success, and it will be Stripe cancel. These two route I will have to define here. So like the PayPal, I am going to call everything like this, and here I am going to write Stripe. In the top, like the PayPal controller, I will call the Stripe controller, and here PayPal controller, these 3 PayPal controller will be a Stripe controller, and PayPal payment, here this will be a Stripe payment, and all the PayPal will be Stripe now. So Stripe controller success cancel, Stripe success, Stripe cancel. Okay, now I am going to my view file, and my view file, you know, in the resources, views, welcome, and in the welcome, this was pay with PayPal. Similar thing, I am going to copy and paste data. Here also hiddenly it will send, and this will be a Stripe route, and pay with, here I will call pay with Stripe. So now I'm going to close it. Now let's check. I'm going to refresh it, and you will see that after the pay with PayPal, there is a pay with Stripe. I am going to make a gap between these two. I'm going to open it. Here I am going to call a div, and the full code I am going to take into a div. Similarly, div, I am going to do that. Okay, so here I am going to refresh. Okay, the div is working. Now I will go to make style equal to margin bottom 10 pixel. So the same thing I am going to call for the Stripe. There will be a gap between the two lines. Okay, so pay with Stripe is here. Now let's check if it is working or not. If I click on Stripe, where it will go? Stripe payment. Sorry, I will have to do one thing, that is in the Stripe controller I just call the response, but actually I did not return anything. So here line items. Okay, now it looks good. Here I will have to delete the response, otherwise you will not see the data. I am going to log in into the stripe.com. Here I am going to the dashboard. The dashboard is opening now, and in the dashboard you will now see if any transaction is made. You will see that. Okay, so I was in the developer mode, and here there is a test data. If you have any transaction, you can easily go there. I am going to payments, collect payment, all transaction. Here is all transaction. No test balance transaction, no transaction is made yet. So I am going to do the same thing again. I am going to refresh it, pay with Stripe. Now you see that all the data are here. Here if you look at, you will see that all the checkout, step checkout session, every data is here, and there is a URL in the bottom. If you see that, this is the URL in the bottom. So I will have to go to this URL, right? So in order to go to this URL, what I will do is type checkout session. So I will be redirected to this response of URL. So here I will go to the Stripe. I am going to remove it. Here I am going to that URL, so I will return redirect, then away, because I am going to another link which is response of URL. So it will go to the response of URL here, like this. So in the response URL it will take me, so redirect away to there. I am now going again back here, refresh, and pay with Stripe. I am now going to click. You will see that it is going to take me to the checkout of Stripe. Okay, so this is the Stripe checkout page, and you see that the product name is mobile phone and product price is 20. Okay, so in order to pay with Stripe, here I need a test card information. If you give here invalid card, it will not actually work. The card number is showing invalid. So if you go to Google and search here Stripe test cards, testing Stripe documentation, I can go there, and here you will get some sample card information of the Stripe. Here you see that all are the Stripe sample cards. So I am going to copy anything. For example, this one I go to copy any 3 digit, any future date you can give here. So I am going to give here a real card. Now it is valid. You see that this is Visa card. If you select from here another card, for example American Express, copy this and now go here. You'll see that AM logo, American Express, right? So and here you can give any future date 30 CBC, any 3 number. You can give any test email, and name on card my test name. Do not need to select any country now, just click on pay. The transaction is going to be processed, and after processed you see that it is returning me to the success URL, Stripe success. But as I did not write anything in the success yet, so it is showing blank. So if you want, you can just do it what I did in the PayPal controller. Simply I can return some data. So here in the success, payment is successful, you can write this, and here payment is cancelled, you can write this. Now if it comes, you will see that payment is successful. Here it will take you back. But if that transaction has really been made or not, how you can do that? In the all transaction, now I am going to refresh here, test balance. Now you see that a charge comes and $20 has been paid, and net amount I get is $19.12. Fee is $0.88, and this is the step detail, and the current date is showing me. So I hope you have understood how it has worked. I am going to make another transaction, for example. So I am going to the welcome.blade.php. I am going to change the price. For example, the price of the product, for example, 150 or 199, $199. Okay. So if I go to here, refresh, pay with Stripe, I am going to pay with Stripe. And now I am going to pay with, for example, Visa card. So I copy the code, and here I paste it. Month is 030426, CBC anyone, another @gmail.com, RFIN test. Now I am going to click on pay. In the left side you see the price. So it is going to be paid, and after paid it is showing that the payment is successful. You can from here go back to the previous page if you want, so no problem. Now I am going to check the payment transaction, so I am going to refresh. You will see that another transaction comes $192. That means 6.07 USD. This is the fee. So it was paid 199. I get 192. So this is actually the test mode, and when you will go to make it live, just activate your account and your Stripe. If it is activated, then the test mode will not shown here, and the real mode or live data will be shown here. So I hope you have understood how to integrate Stripe with your Laravel application.